It's very late. It's very late. 1,639 days since Richard was forcibly removed and murdered from his barracks. Um, the prime suspect is his first lieutenant Dallas Hart, platoon leader, and the crime scene, the suspected crime scene, because of all evidence indicates, is the arms room in building 2479 on Fort Bliss. So, we're getting more and more information all the time. And okay, here we go. Platoon leader. So, just lots of information coming out. We have, I had set up the computer so that I could talk about the pardons, and what they all meant, and also designating cartels, the Mexican cartels, as um, terroristic organizations, what that all meant, explain that more, also explain, General Mealy, getting this preemptive pardon. What does that mean? Him accepting it, one thing that it does mean is that he can't take the fifth. He has to now, he has to talk. He's compelled to talk, if he accepts this very strange pardon, um, which is so dangerous, isn't it? It's so dangerous to have like a preemptive pardon system, because that means that anyone that gets in power can do whatever crime they want with whoever they want, their big team or whatever, and then they can just preemptively, before they're ever convicted, charged or convicted of anything, you pardon them, you know, um, like Fauci being preemptively, where is the charge against him first? You can't, uh, you just can't let that happen, because then you just have one big tyranny, right? One big tyranny. Really, Joe Biden, of course, he's not all in his right mind. And because he's not in his right mind, maybe those pardons can't be accepted, right? Because he clearly is not in his right mind. So, I don't know. We'll see how they handle all of that. The pardons with Trump, the J6ers. Now, I have insight into J6 because I was there. Personally, I was there. Personally, I reported from there. I live streamed from there. I live streamed a couple times. I have videos of it that I kept, that and that's interesting. Um and I can tell you that it was absolutely like a setup. There were bad players there, and it was a lot of instigating going on. There was not any security that I saw. There's no security, right? You have a million people, there's no security. There weren't any porta potties, there weren't very many. There was just one company that had like four, I believe it was four food trucks. You're talking about a million people, right? Um, so it was clearly, um, it was not, there was no concern about the million people coming, because they didn't prepare, right? So that is, goes with um, the allegations, not the allegation, the witness statements from Kash Patel, from President Trump, that he had ordered that they prepare, that would include um, law enforcement, and and then it was not, Pelosi didn't prepare. And I was there. I saw it. They were not prepared, and the fencing and everything, and they were absolutely set up to coax people to go into um the Capitol building. They were, come on, come on, come on, come on, and then when we got close and we wouldn't go in, we got tear gassed, and then when that didn't really work, because it didn't work, they wanted like a trampling. They wanted people to get hurt. In my opinion, it was very clear. But we were just patriots, right? There was so many veterans there, and they helped keep everyone very patient and calm to get us out of the tear gas. And then when that didn't work, we left. So and we were waiting on the bus, and they had started shooting the rubber bullets, and there were people that were coming on our bus that were telling us about the rubber bullets, and they told us that that Ashley Babbitt had been murdered. And this was all in the emotions and everything like that, and I didn't um, share that. That every it's all come out now, and but I've been sharing since that date, because of course Facebook uh, uh, prevented me from doing live streams for a month. But then, remember, I found a way to do it. God just kind of like came to me in a dream and said, put on the shield, put on the shield that the military gave you. And I put on that shield, and the facial recognition from Facebook couldn't read my face, and so it allowed me to do my live streams. So for like a month, I was doing my live streams with that shield on. And yeah, so so there's just so much history here in these 4 years, but I can tell you that these pardons, um many of these individuals have been in for a long time. Some of them have not even had a court case. There was no due process, right? So their rights were violated. And, um, and I have so much information, but that, many of these crimes were not even violent crimes. It was just for walking around, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So yeah, I don't know, there, and then this whole thing, uh, I've been getting people telling me about um, Elon Musk, and how he raised his hand, and it's similar to the Nazi salute or whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is Elon Musk. This is Elon Musk. His personality. Are you kidding me? His personality. He is, he's jumping all over the place. He's doing all kind, you know, he's a richest man in the world, isn't he? Isn't he like one of the richest or the richest man in the world? I mean, are you telling me, that he doesn't feel free all the time to express himself? And then he has what? I don't know how many children. I think like 10 children, close to that. And he's very um extrovert, like that, or expressive and everything, and they're gonna it's just such a, he's doing it from his heart. He did it from his heart, and like threw it out, and I'm like, oh, they are just, they will manipulate. They will, the press is scared stiff, because they have, in our case, they have been colluding with those that have ties with the Mexican cartel, a terrorist organization. And they absolutely have ties to the Mexican cartel in El Paso, and it goes out further because you're talking about criminal trafficking only with the narcotics trafficking is $90 billion a year, y'all. This is a huge economic power. You're not even talking about the weapons trafficking, the ammunition trafficking, all the what they were trying to just couple months ago traffic out of Texas to California, tactical move storage units full of military grade supplies, everything, including uniforms, everything. American military. And where were they going to send it? To North Korea. North Korea, right? So, and then, sorry, we're just getting so much information. We did get information about the young girl that was living on in the barracks in 2023 in the barracks. She 14 years old, um, in the barracks. How long? 4 months. 4 months she was living in the barracks on Fort Bliss. And she was the daughter of one of the security guards. And she was living in the barracks. And all of these articles are coming out about parents pimping out their children. Um, and, you know, uh, 4 months she is living in the barracks with all these young soldiers taking advantage of her. 4 months. She probably had a teddy bear. She probably had a teddy bear. And I can't even imagine. This is so criminal. But what it tells you is the level of breaches of security in the barracks, that they weren't following the SOPs, which we know in Richard's case, which they did not secure their soldiers, which we know in Richard's case because his security guard went AWOL the day that he was forcibly removed and in uniform and murdered. Um, and look, you have a 14-year-old girl living in the barracks for 4 months. 4 months. You have um, swaths of weapons, which we were confirmed today again, that there were all kinds of drugs, all kinds of weapons, all kinds of alcohol. And Jake Jakovitz, the command sergeant major, with Clem Coward, Major General Clem Coward, we, maybe there was some other generals involved in that, decided to bring in young girls during the mandate, the closure, to party in the barracks. When the barracks are absolutely a dangerous place for young girls. Absolutely not a place for young girls. And you have had the rape of Asia Graham, which led to her death. And you have breaches of security. You have the likes of Leilani Hart being able to lie to CID, lie to FBI, lie to Park University, lie to DES, lie to VA, lie to the VA, lie, because there's no, there, those that were hired by the American people, given the trust of our military installation, of our most valuable assets, our volunteer sons and daughters, breached their duty and breached the security that led to so much harm, including the murder, the forced removal and murder and cover up the retaliation, the forced removal, the murder, and the cover up of our son, Richard Halliday. And, and the deaths of hundreds of thousands of taken children that they call unaccompanied, right? And they, give these stories that they care so much about migrants, about people from other countries, and they want them to come in. Yet you have hundreds of thousands, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, not 5,000, not 10,000, not 100,000, hundreds of thousands of taken children that are now mostly dead. That had been trafficked through Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss at the emergency intake center, a huge child camp, a huge child camp. Remember, Fort Bliss is huge. It has so much land, right? It has so much land. It's desert land, and it's just like on a grid. Um, it's an ancient city. It's from my view of looking at it carefully, I think that it with Juarez was once upon a time rich with water and a star fort. I really, knowing Mexico City, knowing the history of that whole area, that's, I would absolutely, if I was not doing this, it would be, one of my interests. I love those kind of things to look into the history. Um, and we know that our government system individuals turn off the water spigot, right? They've turned off the water spigot for Los Angeles. Have they turned off the water spigot for El Paso? Because El Paso is an incredible city. It has a past that you cannot cover up. You can have these dust storms and all that, but you just can't cover it up. It's incredible. And, where's the water? Where's the water going? Why are they wasting the water? Why do they not want you to farm all the water? I think President Trump has been mentioning this. It's really important. But what it's showing is that there is this corruption that means to do us harm. If they don't want to give us water, they want us to be harmed, okay? Because we need water. And if they really wanted us to be healthy, what we need most is good, clean water, right? Good, clean water. But they want to charge us for water. They want to control the water when there's so much water, y'all. There's so much water. And even if it's salt water, there's so much technology now to desalinize it. That we have so much water, so much water. Once upon a time, it flooded the whole earth, right? So we have so much water. That's not a problem. It's whoever controls the spigots. And what's that telling us is that there is a corruption, a corruption, and you know, there's a breach in security on Fort Bliss, without a doubt. That's leads to death. That leads to a whistleblower not being protected and leads to his death. And we just need to put all of it together to say, and let me talk about the what President Trump has done now, declaring Mexican cartels. I'm looking into it more and more every day, and please help me. Please send me information. But every day we're looking into it because, of course, it just happened yesterday. But so much is happening. It's just incredible. That was an incredible inauguration day, wasn't it? I mean, incredible. The first day of a president. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before, ever. And one of the things that he did was declare that Mexican cartels are terroristic organizations. Well, why is this important? Because if you are colluding with them, if you are meeting with them and, well, colluding, that's colluding, right? Meeting and planning and also participating in their criminal activities. Um, now you are subject as working as a terroristic organization or with a terroristic organization or aiding and abetting a terroristic organization. You now are subject to more expanded wiretapping. There can be FISA um, warrants issued to wiretap. That's one of the uh, things that a terrorist organization legally allows, and that you can wiretap into their communications. Also, asset forfeiture. So you can take their assets if they are designated a terroristic um, organization. You can take their assets. The asset forfeiture. Now, please educate me if I'm saying the wrong thing. This is what I'm getting back. There is enhanced sentencing for the criminal crime. You get more years. You get more years because you are participating in organized crime. And I will tell you, in Richard's case, this is organized crime. Organized crime connected with the cartel. Absolutely. And so you get sentenced, you can get sentenced for many, many years. Also, um, you are also subject to federal um, death sentence. So, if in the case of Richards, I don't know if it's going to apply. I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to happen, because I absolutely know that Richard's case, these criminals are connected to the Mexican cartel. Okay. And we really want the courts to seek the death penalty. So that is something that is in our grasp now because of this designation for cartels. And it's really hard to say. It's so hard to say, but this is what needs to be, because we've got to hold these people accountable for the absolute hell that they have done. It's just that they have to be held accountable. Um, yeah. So, and we would be really, yeah, we would be hurting other people if we didn't do this, because they never stop. Their gut is never filled. They're never satisfied. They continue with their criminal activities, with their very violent criminal activities, and their gut is never filled. And so we must hold them accountable to stop them. Um, the extradition treaties are, so if they run over to Mexico, if they go to the Philippines, if they go to Samoa, if they go anywhere to try to run from um, facing the death penalty, they, as a terrorist organization, participating with a terrorist organization, you can extradite them. We have the extradition treaties are available. Um, they can also be charged with conspiracy, which adds to their sentences, a much longer sentences. And then for victims, it allows more protection for the victims. So if you're a whistleblower, you get more protection against, if you want to speak out against them to stop them, you get more protection. So that's a huge message that I want to let everyone know, that is in El Paso. If you know things, what Trump just did, designating the Mexican cartels as terrorist organization, will give you more protection if you are a witness whistleblower. So that's important. It's I think that is really the main things that I wanted to point out. We are getting contacted, and what is going on is uh, just it's moving so fast, and we are having to really organize everything to submit it. Uh, Everything is working, and the institutional support is absolutely incredible. And they're absolutely aware that Leilani Hart is a big fat liar, a big fat liar to everyone that she encounters, and that she has put people in our nation in danger. And so the main point that I wanted to really stress with that is, if we look into the CID, what was the problem in the CID? It was Leilani Hart. She was the problem. She was the manipulator. She was the liar. And the hiding of her very long criminal record and changing her name, and now she changed it again, and then her lying to the VA, her lying to Park University, her lying to DES, her lying to FBI, her lying to, and manipulating and being connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue, which is the Mario Raskin Ortiz, the illegal, unauthorized medical examiner. She's up to no good. Also with the cartel, which brings in Veronica Escobar. Um, so Veronica Escobar, of course, being the co-chair for Harris, for the Harris campaign. Uh, you know, um, she they have to be uh, they have to be very nervous, because the word we're getting is that Trump is not going to stop. He is not going to stop, and he doesn't care about them, about their shenanigans anymore, like with Elon Trump doing the heart pump, and them calling it something else, just it's President Trump is so laser focused. That is the message that we're getting. And of course, just seeing the evidence, the proof is in the pudding. Well, yesterday, the inauguration day was, huge proof that he is laser focused and prepared, very different from 2016. And he did fire federal immigration judges. And I was wondering if Michael Peters, which is Veronica Escobar's husband, was fired, because he absolutely could be fired. And, that's been a subject of scrutiny, just like uh, the information that we got about Leilani Hart, about how she, um, left the military, in March of 2017, and the chapter that she left under and the conflicts of interest and the clear violations. Um, yeah, yeah. My gosh, when we release all of that, it's such an assault on disabled veterans. What she did is such an assault on disabled veterans. It really is. So that's our message. And a bigger message than that is that if you are a witness and you want to be a whistleblower, um, you have now, or if you just want to be a witness, you don't even have to be a whistleblower. You can just be a witness. You have now victim protection that is much more robust than before the designation of the Mexican cartels as terroristic organizations. And one other thing, too, that I mentioned yesterday is that not only were the cartels um, designated, but also narco politicians. So, narco politicians were also designated as terrorist organizations. So, yeah, this is really a move in the right direction. And, so that I think that's the big message that we want to send out. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. God bless you. Fort Bliss doesn't pass muster, okay? People are saying it's a death camp. It's a death camp. It doesn't pass muster. It allows a 14-year-old girl to live in the barracks, being pimped out to the soldiers, with a stepfather as a guard, as a gate guard, security guard for 4 months. 4 months. That means that there is a culture of corruption. That's coming even out of the JAG office, that there's a culture of corruption. Um, and, of course, with hundreds of thousands of children that they call unaccompanied, but they're taken, that are now mostly dead, it's been called a death camp. And, and then, of course, to cover up because of the fallout of Vanessa Guillen, to cover up the murder of Richard, a two-time distinguished undergraduate whistleblower soldier. Um, and the forensics is getting very, very, uh, very interesting because we are bringing together all of our forensic evidence, our findings, with our investigative. Well, it's a comprehensive investigation, and that is going to be submitted to Congress. And it's going to be called The Failures of Fort Bliss, because Fort Bliss does not pass muster. And really, the more that we review our findings and our investigation, the more we feel that Fort Bliss needs to be shut down. It is too ripe for this corruption right there on the border. And we can protect our border in other ways. We don't need to have um, Fort Bliss there. The people would be better off without Fort Bliss. The people of El Paso would be better off without Fort Bliss. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And to try to keep it secure when there's so many secure. Look at the likes of Leilani Hart, the likes of someone that has a long criminal record going back to before Richard was born. That is even, from what we know from her own confession, she's an illegal immigrant. She's an illegal immigrant that busted into our country and has been committing crimes for so long before Richard was even born, and then commits all this other fraud and other criminal activity and breaches security in the CID with the files, right? With the files on Fort Bliss in the VA, the most sensitive files of our veterans, and it assaults disability veteran benefits, right? Insulting disabled veterans, right? Or you could even call it an assault on them also. And then lying to El Paso Matters, Bob Moore, lying to Park University, lying to manipulate, and her connection with DES Thomas Kane, and her connection lying to CYS and Ogle, right? Um, it, it's just one lie after the other, and then the FBI won't arrest her. Why not? She needs to be arrested. And I think a lot of people would agree with that she needs to be arrested. If she's going to lie to them, if she's going to mislead them, if she's going to lie, everywhere else and, have this lying at the Fort Bliss military police too, right? If she's going to lie to manipulate, and she has illegal immigration problems, and she's a prime suspect in the murder case of a whistleblower soldier, Richard Halliday, why isn't she arrested? I mean, everywhere you look, she's toxic, and Fort Bliss is now more toxic. Is even more toxic. A death camp, toxic with Leilani Hart, um, breach of security everywhere. I think it needs to be shut down. I think it needs to be shut down. So thank you. And Leilani needs to be arrested. So and don't forget 3905 Bliss Avenue. There's just so much to this, but 3905 Avenue is what connects the cartel with the Walmart case with Richard's unit. So and all these individuals. So thank you so much. God bless you, and